on the News Channel 5 network. This is Titans Talk.
Hey there, and welcome into Titans Talk on this Monday night on News Channel 5 Plus. Steve Layman here with you. We want to hear from you tonight. 737-7767 is the number. Your thoughts on yesterday's 41-17 loss in Indianapolis. Feels like we're saying this every week now. What happened yesterday? Different mistakes, but a very similar script to what we saw the previous 2 weeks. Dallas, it was down 16-0 at the half. Go on to lose by 16 points. Cincinnati, it was down 19-0 at the half. Go on to lose 33-7. Yesterday, it was 17-0 in Indianapolis before the Titans finally showed some life and then ultimately fell 41-17. It's a 6th straight loss against the Colts. Andrew Luck personally is 5-0 all time against the Titans, and there's some real concern, I think, if you're a Titans fan, about a couple of things here. One, the direction of where this season is going. You know, I was talking to somebody earlier about this today. If you would have told me to look at the first month of the Titans' schedule before the season started, if you looked at those games at Kansas City, Dallas, at Cincinnati, at Indianapolis, 3 road games against playoff teams from a year ago, and a Cowboys team that certainly has the potential to be a playoff team and be solid on offense for sure. If you just looked at that schedule, I think it would have been pretty realistic to say that the Titans, under a first-year head coach in Ken Whisenhunt, would be lucky to be 1-3. And if they're 1-3 in that stretch, you wouldn't be all that surprised. But it's the way it's played out. To go into Kansas City and seemingly play so well against the Chiefs in the opening week and get a win. To come back, be kind of flat in your home opener, and then just flat out non-competitive in back-to-back games against Cincinnati and Indianapolis. The trend is going in the bad direction. And the trend is going that right now this doesn't look like a very competitive football team. Saw a power poll today that had the Titans 31st out of the 32 NFL teams. Only the Raiders were behind them. Even the 0-4 Jaguars are in front of the Titans. How big of a cause for an alarm is this first month to you? Again, I think a lot of us thought the Titans would probably be 1-3 at this point. But it's the way it's gone down. Outscored 100-34 the last 3 weeks. There's got to be some level of concern about where this is going. Where does the concern meter go for you? On a scale of 1 to 10, how concerned are you about the Titans and where this season is right now? We want to hear from you. 737-7767 is the number tonight. And to go along with that, as we mentioned, yesterday was the 6th consecutive loss to the Indianapolis Colts. Andrew Luck 5-0 against Tennessee. How do the Titans break through? How do the Titans break through against the Colts? And how do they win this division? Ultimately, that's what you're playing for in the NFL, is to be a division champ. Control your destiny to get a home field playoff game. And once you do that, you know anything can happen in the postseason. The Titans, of course, haven't been to the playoffs in 5 years, haven't won a playoff game in 10. But that is ultimately the goal. And when you look at Indianapolis right now, the team that's won the division the last 2 years, was sort of the preeminent power in the Peyton Manning era, and now they just reload with Andrew Luck. They have one bad year, and they set themselves up to draft Andrew Luck, and all he does is win the division his first 2 years. And I would say right now they're a game behind the Texans, but I would say right now the Colts are still a healthy favorite to three-peat as AFC South division champs. So if you're the Titans right now and you're looking what Indianapolis is doing, and you see that Andrew Luck is, 25 years old, and already one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He's not going anywhere. So how do the Titans overcome that and win some football games? Win this division, beat the Colts. Can they do it with Jake Locker? Frankly, was any quarterback good enough to win the way the supporting cast played yesterday? I think those are all fair questions to be asking today as they move forward. Ken Whisenhunt said today he knows his team's pride is hurting, but all you can do is come back to work, try to fix these things and move forward, and that is exactly what they are going to do. He also really emphasized the fact that if you look at the month of September, the schedule was not kind. And as they're trying to grow up with a new system and this new coaching staff, they're going to need some time. So all is not lost. He even pointed to a couple instances during his career. First in Arizona, his first year there, they really struggled out of the gate. Started to find their groove in the second half of the season, and in year 2, they played in the Super Bowl. Only difference there, of course, is they had Kurt Warner, who's a borderline Hall of Famer, as a quarterback, leading them. Even last year in San Diego, the Chargers were a bit up and down early in the season before finding their stride late. They won at Denver. They got into the playoffs, played the doors off the Broncos in the playoffs on a very cold day in Denver. So there is some track record that the Whisenhunt system takes some time to put in, but it does get there usually sometime in year 1, and when it does, it becomes very difficult to stop. But so far, the Titans have been a mess offensively and defensively, and they sit here at 1-3 because of it. We want to hear from you tonight. 737-7767 is the number. Your thought, again, the panic meter for the Titans, 1 to 10. How close are you to 10 right now after this 1-3 start? And what do the Titans do in this division long term? As you're looking at matching up against the Colts and Andrew Luck, how do the Titans get over that hurdle? Because Luck's not going anywhere, so you got to figure the Colts are going to be pretty good for the foreseeable future. First things first, though, let's get to the highlights from yesterday. Titans and Colts. Opening Titans possession, Charlie Whitehurst, of course, in for the injured Jake Locker, hits Kendall Wright, and this is where it all goes wrong. Wright reaching for the first down, fumbles it himself. He was not down by contact, so it's the Colts ball, and they would capitalize. Trent Richardson, first rushing touchdown of the year, and 7-0. Then on the ensuing kickoff, the Titans are snoozing. Colts go for the onside kick, and they recover it. A huge swing. 3rd and goal, Andrew Luck to Dwayne Allen. Just like that, it's 14-0. Titans with only 6 offensive plays in the first quarter. Then on the second play of the second quarter, Whitehurst looking downfield. The ball goes off Justin Hunter's hands and into the arms of Mike Adams. Titans turned it over 3 times. Just before half, a little life as Whitehurst threads it in there to Delaney Walker for the touchdown. All of a sudden, it's a 20-10 game. Whitehurst finished 12 of 23, 177 yards, touchdown, a pick. But Luck went to work in the second half. 28 yards to Reggie Wayne for the score. He threw for 393 yards and 4 touchdowns. Bishop Sankey does get his first NFL touchdown in the third quarter to make it 34-17. But Ahmad Bradshaw finishes the scoring. 15-yard screen pass from Luck for the touchdown. Colts rack up nearly 500 yards, turn the Titans over 3 times, and beat Tennessee 41-17. Let's look at the game stats with our chat from Neil O'Donnell last night, and they were as ugly as you might expect. To understand the disparity on the field Sunday in Indianapolis, all you really need to see are the plays and the time of possession. More than 40 minutes again for the Colts this week. Neil, it was the case again, though, of an offense that was inefficient and turned the ball over 3 times, and a defense that could not get off the field on 3rd down, allowing 7 of 14 conversions. Is it time to totally reassess on both sides of the ball?
I think you have to, Steve. I think somehow we have to find out who's going to make some plays for us, offensively and defense. Right now, it was almost like a preseason game, that second half. It almost like they were just waiting for the game to get over. When you see 1 for 9 on third downs, you can't win that way. 3 turnovers, you can come back with that if you have explosiveness on offense, and we don't have that right now. Time of possession, guess what? Watching that tape tomorrow afternoon, the Tennessee Titans offense, that'll be a quick meeting, but hopefully they'll be working on something else besides watching this bad tape.
You mentioned the explosiveness. The Colts with 41 points on Sunday. The last time the Titans scored at least 40 points, you have to go back more than 2 years to a win over the Detroit Lions in 2012. And that is part of the problem here, is that offense, the Ken Whisenhunt offense, was supposed to be what carried this team in the transition year from the 4-3 to the 3-4 defense of Ray Horton. And you thought, you looked at it in the preseason, Locker had some good numbers. Justin Hunter had monster games in the preseason. Kendall Wright is back. Delaney Walker is back. You thought the Titans offense was going to be there. They were going to score points, and that was going to keep them in games. The offense has been a no-show to this point. Locker has struggled the last couple of weeks. He missed yesterday's game. Charlie Whitehurst just 12 of 23. The running game, with the exception really of that first week in Kansas City, has been non-existent. The wide receivers by a group, which I think was considered a strength coming into the year, has largely underperformed. Justin Hunter has been terrible in the regular season. Kendall Wright has been there, but not done anything as dynamic as he did probably a year ago. Nate Washington has not been much of a factor up to this point. About the only guy you can point to offensively for the Titans who has really showed up and played well week in and week out so far this season is Delaney Walker. He's been great. Outside of that, this is an offense that is yet to find itself and does not have an identity right now, 1 month into the season. And they have to fix that soon. Otherwise, it's going to be a very long, long season. Phone line, 737-7767. Call us up. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we get to your phone calls. So stay tuned. A lot of discussion ahead here on Titans Talk.